It's the mind behind the curtain.
Woo, woo.
Hosts Alex and Jose.
That's right, baby.
What's up, y'all?
How y'all doing?
What the heck?
Yeah, man.
That
You said the same thing.
I didn't. Man, whatever.
And you know what? You can turn your chair a little bit so they can see your pretty face. And turn the mic that way. So
Is my hat in the way, man?
Yeah.
Man.
Looks good, man. Well, welcome back, people, to another episode of The Mind Behind the Curtain. This is the part 2 of Life After Death or the Afterlife.
And we ended off here.
Yeah, we were talking about this movie, The Hereafter. And, this is a drama centered on 3 people, a blue-collar American, a French journalist, and a London schoolboy who are touched by death in different ways. And Matt Damon plays basically the link between all these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And you know what?
Clint Eastwood directed it?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, awesome!
And
I have
he
to
did
see
a great job.
I
man.
have to see it. Anything he directs,
no,
man.
Right?
No, he had to. Did he direct it or not?
Yeah, he did.
Well,
yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, anything he
Clint
directs,
Eastwood,
man, you gotta watch. Like,
and
straight up.
Writer was Peter Morgan. I mean, you got like Matt Damon, Cecile DeFrance, Bryce Dallas Howard. It's a great cast, man.
Yep.
All right, so let's get right into it, man. In the movie, what I got off the movie is that
Don't spoil it.
No, and I'm not gonna spoil it. Is that
He's lying.
people that transcend into the afterlife, right? And actually make it back. People that don't stay there.
Wow.
People that come back, and I'm gonna go into my story, bro. And they come back being touched by some type of illumination or some type of spiritual experience. In the movie, Matt Damon plays somebody that is actually clairvoyant and can actually tell you about your past, what you're going through in your present time and in your future. He just taps into this
like a palm reader.
Yeah. and that goes back to like, how can people do this, right? And the secret is that they actually tap into your Akashic records, man. Let's call it what that is. Like,
right,
let's call it the source of,
they might not even know that it's the Akashic records, but they're still tapping into it.
They're tapping into your
not knowing
your past.
It is.
Yeah. They're tapping into all the experiences that you've lived and that you have lived. And or that you had lived and that you will live. And because when you are in the spiritual realm, there is no sense of time.
Right.
Time is non-linear. Like that choice that you're usually like, if I put my elbow there,
it's gonna go.
Yeah. But you've had some stories about like life and death experiences that you've heard from your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you recall one? Can you
I'd rather get her to recall it.
We gotta have her on the show.
Man, we gotta have her, man, because she's an alien.
Yeah. Yeah. Props to Alicia, for being an alien.
Nanu with Alicia.
Yeah. Well, there's also I don't know if you can pull it up. I think there's a documentary right now of Life After Death on Netflix that people should check out. Yeah. I think it's
Netflix Life After Death documentary. Why not use it, man?
Surviving Death. There it is. Surviving Death.
I got it. Why not?
Yeah, so people got to get on there and see the show.
Okay, hold on. Let's can we show the preview?
Of course. Like you might have to turn it up.
Yeah.
And maybe maximize the window.
I'm doing that too.
And rewind, please, sir.
Most people don't think about death really until they're forced to.
Her brain was not functioning, and yet she had the most vivid experience.
Maybe turn it up more.
Death experience
It's really low.
how I understand death.
We think these people, they're gone, but they're always watching after us.
Someone said, "What is your name?"
What is her name?
This thing is talking to us.
Whoa.
The first story that Ron ever told, he said, Mom, I think I used to be somebody else.
He extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. This is the biggest claim ever.
I don't believe we know everything.
Their loved one from the other side is there helping them cross over.
Okay, well, that's enough for that.
We gotta talk about that.
That's yeah. That looks interesting though, man.
Yeah, you and I had a conversation over the phone and talking about like the coincidence of when people die, man. Like,
yeah.
You know, I got a personal story about my grandmother passing away, and then I think like a month later, one of my cousins passed away, and my mother and I were sitting down, and we both were saying how my grandmother needed my cousin in the afterlife in order to get through purgatory or whatever, go to the next level. So there's the theory that some souls need the power of other souls in order to pass through the filter of the afterlife, or through the tunnel, or whatever you want to call it.
And most likely probably with somebody that they're related to.
Of course, it's most of the time it's somebody that they know.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're close to, they love, or they had maybe a falling out, and that was the way to bring them back together in some sense.
That's
maybe?
right. That's right. And that's how the universe brings them back together, and they actually become one entity, right? And then I mean, these are all theories, right, people? I mean,
not experts. We're
not experts, no. But I will tell you about my
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
But I'll just finish touching a point on that, is that the universe has its reasons and its purpose, right? And sometimes, you know, when a child is born, you know, the child most of the time is born with its own personality, right? And as that personality comes through that child, a lot of the relatives say, "Oh my God, it reminds me of Uncle Joe and Auntie Mary and whatever." Like, "Oh, he does all these things that, you know, so and so, you know, did when they were here, right?"
Yeah, that's true.
And they have a little bit of something. Call it maybe being part of their DNA, you know, maybe genetics, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe their spirit, right?
Yeah.
But my story, bro. And buckle yourselves down for this one.
Buckle up, yo.
Buckle up. You know, because this is going to touch on many things, man. It's going to touch on different realms.
Yeah, I was blown away when you told me this, man. Like, I was just like, that's how I was.
So here it goes, man. And I'll try to be as quick as I can, but also give you some details, right?
The floor is yours.
So I was in Mexico, and I had the most amazing time. I was there. It was like my third day, and I you know, have already had made some friends that live there. So I had my friends that were locals, right? And not locals, but locals.
Local.
Some of them are local, locals. And you know, on this particular day, we went to this beach club, this day beach club, right, where you can hang out. And you've seen the pool parties, the Vegas pool parties, and all that. You know, people drinking by the pool, dancing, jumping in the water, swimming in the ocean, having great food, listening to great music.
Getting drunk.
Yep. And there you go. My buddy's like, "You want another beer?" and man, it was such a great day, man. And when we left the beach club, we were heading to back to the hotel, and the girl that I had made friends with, she was from Australia, very beautiful girl, amazing, super fun to be with. She was like, "Well, how are we gonna finish the night?" And I said, "Well, you know, we can go to this club called the Mandala Club, and we can." Mandala, yeah, or Mandela.
Like Mandela?
Yeah, like Mandela or Mandala. Anyway, the
whatever.
Mandala. I think it's Mandala. Look it up. I don't know. Mandala Playa del Carmen.
Oh, I'm not looking for that. I can't even pronounce that, man.
Mandala.
Mandela.
Anyway, so then So on the way there, we stopped and I talked to one of the promoters there, and I said, hey, can you reserve a table for us tonight? And there's probably going to be like 10 of us, right? Because I've had met some people from Israel, some Israelis, gorgeous women, by the way, the Israeli women, and a couple from California, and then my friends that live there and all that. And I was like planning this big party. And then afterwards, I was also planning to go back to my uncle's penthouse in Cancun. So in my mind, I was like, oh, we're going to all jump in a taxi and go back in the middle of the night and party in the penthouse. So, I went and got ready, jumped in a cab to go pick up the keys for the penthouse. And before we left Cancun, the taxi driver asked me if he could pick up his wife, because I was his last fare, right? I was the last shift of his night. And so I said, yeah, no worries, man. Let's pick up your wife. No big deal. So we picked up his wife and we headed to Cancun. I picked up the keys, and on the way back, we stopped at the gas station to put gas in his taxi. And I picked up some beers and some sandwiches and snacks for us to have on the way back, because it's an hour drive, right? So I'm having my beer in the back seat, and I'm chatting with a girlfriend of mine from North Van, and this guy is going probably like, I don't know, 120, 130 kilometers per hour, and which is normal on that highway. And what they've done on that highway as well is that they've made this overpasses, like this bridges that go over the exit into the towns, right? So you don't have to stop. Every time you hit a town, you don't have to stop at the lights. You can just fly over it. Yeah, go through. So we were approaching Puerto Morelos, and the taxi driver couldn't see the divider that was dividing the road and the bridge, right? Which basically is the how they have the little cement islands, and then they have a reflector, or they have a sign.
Or those yellow things.
Yeah, and they have a lamppost and blah, blah. Well, the lamppost was burnt out. Talking about, look how the universe works, man. And somebody already had an accident there, because the sign, which is like a reflector that shows you, hey, there's an island here, right? There's an island made out of cement here that separates the highway from the exit. It had been turned, so he didn't see it. So he caught it at the last minute, man. And at that moment, I was having an epiphany. That's what you say? That's how you say the word? Yeah. And because my girlfriend and I were talking about the purpose of life, and I was like, oh, I know the answer to that. And I was about to give her the answer, but right at that moment, I shifted myself towards the middle of the seat, and I looked towards the highway, and I saw this divider. I saw the little cement island, and the wife was just talking, going like, and I think that's why the taxi driver wasn't paying attention, because he kind of had his head leaned to the side and just listening to her like in a daze, but he saw the divider as well in the last minute, and we hit it almost head on, man. Head on. So hard that the taxi catapulted me into the ceiling when we hit it. So the car hit it, and it kind of like dipped down right in the front, and it catapulted me into the ceiling. And I hit my head like 4 times, like, bah, bah, right? Because the car was just bouncing after that. And then all of a sudden, it kind of went on its side because it started riding the island. So right at that moment, I thought the car was going to flip over. And I was, by that moment, it's crazy how when you're inside a car, you are nothing. You weigh zero. Like you are just like a little fluff of a feather flying in this little box, because the inertia and the speed and everything, the velocity and whatever takes over your body, and it controls you. So at this moment, I was like levitated almost parallel to my seats, to the back seat, and I was flying out the window. Okay? But time slowed down, bro.
Like the Matrix, you're telling me. Yeah.
Like in the movies, man. Time slowed down, and I was like floating I could see my beer floating in slow motion, my cell phone. I could hear the wife screaming in slow motion, like, ah! And it was the most eerie, gruesome, scary sound that I've ever heard coming out of a woman. You know, it was pretty freaky, man. But anyway, I'm flying out the window and I realize I have time, right? I'm like, I have time. I got all this time in the world. What the hell? So the first thing I did was pray, obviously. And I asked God for forgiveness for all my sins. Yes, I have my own sins. We all do. We're not all perfect, right? No. Well, there's a lot of people out there that may not have any sins, man. But anyway, so sins are just a perspective on how you view life anyway. But we'll get into that topic another time.
You went off topic.
So, yeah. So I'm flying out and I think I'm like, that's it. This is it. I'm out. I'm gonna be flying out. Like, I just imagine the worst, right? My head going through the window and my body just hitting the highway. Another car coming by and taking me out. But I had time and I was still floating. And I'm like, I still have time. So I was like, God, please take care of all my nephews and my niece and whoever. And I was like, you know, praying for everybody, right? And then I still had time. I'm like, what? I'm not out the window yet? Okay. So I looked down and I reached down to the seat and I grabbed the seat and I pulled my body down because I realized that if I did that, I would hit the door. I wouldn't hit the window. So obviously I did that. And as I pulled myself down, time just came back. Like, time just started going in normal speed again, which was pretty fast. Wow. So I flew right into the door. Boom! I hit the door head on and the car slammed back down. And then my body flew up into the ceiling. Boom! And then my body came down and crashed into the seat. And that's when I was out.
What part of your body hit the door?
My head.
Your head,
yeah. Because I was like flying out. I was like literally parallel to the seats. So now I'm knocked out. Man. Complete darkness, right? But all of a sudden I see this beam of light. Like, I was like, how can I explain it? I was in like a giant black warehouse. And at the end, I could see like this strip of white light opening up, right? And it was kind of foggy, right? So, and this is obviously the way that I can describe it in human terms. This is the only way I can describe it. Experiencing it is completely different than how I'm saying it, but I'm going to try to get as close as I can,
right,
to describing it in a human way. Right. So this beam of light started like getting wider and wider. As I'm getting closer to it, all of a sudden I see literally like what everybody says, a flash of your life. Like, your life starts flashing by you. But it was like kind of like in a cylinder formation. You know, somebody's sneezing out there. Hope it's not COVID. That's a loud. That sounds like a dog, man. Probably picked it up. So, then, bro, I start seeing all these like videos, and you know when Neo meets the architect, and there's like a wall full of, or the walls are filled with TVs, and he can actually go into a TV and see things and experience that moment. Well, that's how this was. And I was able to like see what my mother was doing. And I could actually walk in that room and watch her cook. The smells, everything, bro. I saw her kitchen, dude. Which later on, which I'll get to it, but later on in the future, 4 or 5 years later, maybe later, like 6 years later, she had a similar kitchen, bro.
Wow.
And I found myself in the present moment in that kitchen. But I saw it back then while these things were flashing.
Right.
I saw my sister. I saw her cooking. And it was funny because something happened this weekend where I was like, oh, okay, she's making the ribs. I'm here to help her. And I'm going to be patient with her. And I'm going to help her cook these ribs, you know, and just tell her something.
Right.
Right. And that is going to make sense to her. And I had that same experience while I was going towards the light, like 6 years ago, bro. You know what I mean? So anyway, and I saw my present, my future, my past, and I could actually, and I multiplied myself into 100 different versions of myself, and I was able to go into these rooms and experience everything at the same time. And I could have like 20 minutes in one, 30 minutes in another one, 2 seconds in another one, but it was all happening at the same time. So time was non-linear, bro.
Wow.
There was no sense of time. I was everything and everything at the same time. That's the only way I can explain it. So then all of a sudden I heard deep in the background, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Perdóneme, señor. Perdóneme, señor." Right? And I thought at one point it was me saying, "I am sorry, God. I'm sorry, Lord." Right? Because that's how we say, when we refer to God, we call him El Señor. Right? But then the voice started morphing into a female voice. And all of a sudden the lights started closing, and then these images and videos were vanishing, and I could feel somebody pulling me, and I'm like, what? And the sensation that I had while I was going towards the light was beautiful, bro. It was like pure love.
You didn't want to leave.
I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Right.
You know, I was like happy. I was like, oh man, it was the most peaceful feeling I ever had.
Yeah,
you know?
the same thing with my girl. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then all of a sudden I feel a pull and somebody pulling me and stuff. And sure enough, it was the wife waking me up, bro.
Wow.
Waking me up. And she pulled me up and she sat me up. And then as I was coming to, I started feeling my body, and I was like, okay, I'm breathing. Okay. I can't move my legs. I can't move my arms. Fear came over me, bro, because I was like, I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, that's the first thing.
I'm
that you
paralyzed.
think. Yeah.
But, I bet a lot of people have had this sensation, like when you're sleeping and you're kind of half awake, half asleep, and you can't move your body. You know, and you're like, come on, get your body.
What is it called? Sleep paralyzation or something like that?
Paralysis?
Paralysis,
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So then, bro, like she wakes me up, and I'm like looking around, and then I remember I was really scared by that at that moment. By the way, I was scared. I was feeling the pain. I could feel the little blood dripping down my cheek and shit, because I had a little cut on top of my head. I was like, holy fuck, what the fuck? And I remember again, and I love movies, and this is why I love movies, because you see all these scenarios in movies. And anyway, I remember in Kill Bill when she was trying to wiggle her toes. And I was like, come on, man, wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes. And so I started wiggling my toes, and then that's when I started being able to control my body again. And I'm like, okay, give me a second. I'm going to step out. And she goes, we were in an accident. I'm like, and for 1 second I was like, we were? And she's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let it out, bro. Let it out. This is also a bedtime story, people. So, yeah, bro, she took me out. And that was my experience, bro. I survived it. My head was the size of a freaking melon, though. I was like, I couldn't swim next to a dolphin because I looked like a dolphin head. It was all like I had a hematoma or whatever, but anyway, that was my experience, man. And and it left me feeling like there is hope after life. You know, there is love. You know, and you will be judged by the things you've done in your life, the things that you have accomplished, the people that you've helped, the people that you love, the people that you didn't love, the people that you've hurt. You know, you will be judged by that. But you will also be given an opportunity to come back and try to finish certain things that haven't been completed. Because you are the only one that can do
change.
it. Yeah. That can change these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So that concludes my story.
Wow. Well, I told them it was going to be wow.
Yeah.
Or but yeah.
And
That's nuts.
and we might do a part 3. How do you feel about doing a part 3?
Let's go for it.
Okay, we're gonna do a part 3, and this time we're gonna hear Jose because
What?
most of that was me, man.
What am I going to talk about? I got no other life experiences after that.
No, you haven't.
See, we're going to go off of part 2. He's going to kill me, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to tell you my afterlife.
Yeah, I have another one too, man, and we'll get into that. All right, thank you for listening and watching. And remember, subscribe. Click that subscribe button. Tell your friends. The Mind Behind the Curtain is in full effect, people.
Alex and Jose.
We are
Peace.
out. Till number 3.
Get ready, because we're gonna talk about the yin and the yang, the bad, the good.